We have an update tonight on a deadly crash involving a bus on I-35 in San Antonio.
Police say it happened when the bus traveling from Fort Worth to Mexico collided with a stolen car. 4 suspects in the car are still on the run. And tonight we've learned one of the victims is a North Texas business owner. Fox 4's Casey Stiegel has our story tonight. Casey?
Hey, Steve, Heather, good evening to you. Yeah, this story, tragedy on the road, has North Texas connections. While police down in San Antonio tonight say that they are still looking for the 4 suspects who bailed from the car they say caused this whole crash, and one of them was armed.
As Friday afternoon turned into Friday evening here on Fort Worth's Hemphill Street, a quaint blink-and-you'll-miss-it sort of building with peeling paint sits quiet. It's the Transportes Guerra station, and the lone bouquet of flowers up front helps tell the story.
We had a stolen white Camaro south on 35 speeding. It wrecked into a small transport bus carrying a trailer.
More than 250 miles south down Interstate 35 Thursday afternoon, San Antonio police say the bus driver lost control after being hit by the speeding Camaro, struck a guardrail, then an 18-wheeler careened into the bus, flipping it on its side, ejecting passengers. The bus, run by Transportes Guerra, on a trip from Fort Worth to Mexico.
As a result of that crash, 2 individuals are dead, 18 have been transported to hospitals. The age range of the individuals transported were young children to senior adults.
Friends also confirmed to Fox 4 Jose Tito Guerra was killed. He owned the transport company for more than 2 decades. On its Facebook page, a post directing passenger families to 3 different phone numbers, all of which went unanswered when we called Friday.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail.
While back in San Antonio, detectives are looking for multiple suspects who bailed from the Camaro following the crash.
Yes, there's 4 individuals that fled from the vehicle. One was armed with an AK rifle.
Now, neighbors there have their guards up.
It's frightening to know, but just always being safe. Luckily, I'm not here alone.
So I just got off the phone with University Hospital down in San Antonio trying to get an update on the patient's conditions tonight. They were unable to give that out. Steve, Heather?
Keller is considering a partnership with ICE. How the city says it stands to benefit by teaming up with federal immigration enforcement. Good evening. I'm Clarice Tinsley. The city of Keller is looking to become the largest city in Texas to enter into a program that gives local officers the authority of federal immigration officers. Fox 4's Deon Anglin talked to the mayor of Keller about what the move does and doesn't do. Deon.
Hi there, Clarice. It is worth noting that Tarrant County itself is a partner with this federal program, so all who are booked into the county jail are subject to background checks for their immigration status. If Keller adopts this proposal, it means it becomes the first city within the county to do the same thing.
And this is something that in Keller now, over the course of several years, we've been running background checks on individuals that have been booked into our jail.
The city of Keller is on course to become the first in Tarrant County and the 4th city in the state to formally partner with ICE through the federal 287G program. Keller Mayor Armin Mizani says the collaboration would benefit several northern Tarrant cities who utilize the Keller jail, like Southlake, Colleyville, Roanoke, and Westlake.
So ultimately what that means is that someone is detained and placed in Keller jail. Well, then at that point, that is when we would run a background check. And if the appropriate authorities need to be notified of legal status, then we would do so.
The mayor says the federal dollars would flow only to the process that occurs at the jail. He acknowledges the current climate surrounding federal immigration initiatives and mass deportations invites public debate.
Could it weigh in the discussion for what this proposal aims to do?
At the end of the day, it's only to the benefit of law-abiding citizens. And this is really what this program is about. It's not that we're going to have law enforcement knocking on people's doors or making traffic stops. Again, this only applies if someone commits a criminal offense and they get arrested, that is when, at that point, the program becomes into effect.
The Keller City Council will take up the proposal to adopt a formal partnership with the federal program on August 5th.
It's about ensuring that for the criminals that are arrested, that have committed some sort of criminal offense, that we know who they are and where they're coming from, and that the appropriate authorities are notified.
And come August 5th, the City Council in Keller will discuss this particular proposal. There will be an opportunity for public comment. The council is expected to vote on the measure that evening. That's the very latest live. Clarice, back to you.
Deanne, thank you.
The former Milsap ISD superintendent and 3 other educators were indicted by a Parker County grand jury.
The 4 are accused of failing to report abuse. The case involves an incident in a special needs classroom at the elementary school in February. But tonight, the mother of one of those victims doesn't understand why some of the educators are being charged. Fox 4's David Centenary has been following the story for months. David.
Yeah, Stephen, Heather, some of those indictments that were handed down today went to a few educators who people were not necessarily expecting to be charged. Of course, by now, you've probably seen that video showing Milsap ISD educators Jennifer Dale and Paxton Bean allegedly swatting at a 10-year-old autistic child, Alex Cornelius, and hitting him with a toy. Both were charged with misdemeanor official oppression in this case, and then Superintendent Edie Martin charged with felony failure to report or intent to conceal. Today, a Parker County grand jury chose to indict Martin on a lesser charge, misdemeanor failure to report child abuse, while also serving the same indictments to 3 additional educators, Jamie Riggs, Jeannie Batorf, and Shannon Kraus. All 3 worked inside the special needs classroom. One even recorded the whistleblower video given to the child's mother. The child's mother believes these 3 raised concerns to school officials about the abuse. One, Jamie Riggs, even spoke at a school board meeting claiming her plea fell upon deaf ears. Prosecutors, however, say they did not report to CPS, law enforcement, or the Texas Education Agency, and with that information, a grand jury chose to indict them with misdemeanors.
I do not believe that any of this would have come to light had it not been for those 3 standing up for my son, and I'm very grateful for them, and I quite frankly don't think that they should be charged in any of this.
Paxton Bean is the daughter of Milsap Elementary's principal. Some within that community alleged that relationship may have led to a cover-up. The school board has since passed a nepotism policy. Speaking of Bean, today a grand jury also indicted her with felony injury to a child in a separate case of alleged abuse against an 8-year-old autistic boy in the same classroom. That child allegedly suffered a bloody nose from the incident. The initial spotlight on Alex Cornelius's case led to that investigation.
I never wanted my child to be involved in any of this, but I'm glad that at least other people came forward and that it's being brought to light.
Martin's defense team issued a statement today reading in part that she did not report the abuse within 48 hours because Dr. Martin was awaiting the report of the independent investigator who began work that day of the incident. Of course, we've been reporting on this story for several months now. We'll continue to keep you updated on how the legal process plays out. But for now, Steve and Heather, back to y'all.
All right, David Centenary, thank you.
New details on the murders of 4 University of Idaho students could be soon available to the public.
So it comes after an Idaho judge lifted a sweeping gag order in this case. Fox's Garrett Tenney has more.
I just don't think that I can justify the continuation of the non-dissemination order.
The gag order in the Brian Kohberger quadruple murder case has been lifted. A judge ruling in favor of a coalition of media organizations pushing for more information, and now that a trial planned for August is no longer happening.
I think the rights of the public to information in this case is paramount, given the fact that a plea has been entered in this case.
Earlier this month, Kohberger bypassed a lengthy jury trial by pleading guilty to the brutal stabbing deaths of 4 University of Idaho students killed more than 2 years ago. The plea deal took many by surprise as the case gained nationwide attention, and we still don't know what prompted the killings. It's a point the defense stressed when arguing against lifting the gag order.
The publicity in this case is so extensive and emotions are already so high that adding fuel to the fire of media interviews or a rush to interview people as they leave the courthouse or enter the courthouse would only increase.
The judge's ruling will now allow those involved in the case to speak publicly, but sealed documents from the investigation won't be available until after sentencing, a process the judge warned could take months.
This case has existed under an extremely strict gag order for far too long. There's been a lot of conspiracy theories that have come out of it, a lot of conjecture that's come out of it, and I think it's about time that we start to know exactly what took place and some of the investigation that was done.
Kohberger's sentencing hearing is set for next week. In Chicago, I'm Garrett Tenney, Fox News.
Lawyers representing a Texas death row inmate at the center of a shaken baby syndrome case say their fight is far from over. Good evening, I'm Clarice Tinsley. A judge Wednesday set an October 16th execution date for Robert Roberson, that doesn't leave much time for his attorneys to get an appeal through the legal system. Fox 4's Alex Boyer has more on options they may explore. Alex.
Hi, Clarice. You know, there's a lot of detail about the next steps in this case that I really couldn't elaborate on in my story yesterday due to TV time constraints. As of today, Robert Roberson's legal team has 89 days to try and find a way to save his life. His team wants a new trial, claiming that the evidence used to convict him was, as you mentioned, junk science. They also say that they have new medical evidence to present. Roberson's lead attorney tells me that that process is much more difficult now that a judge has set that new execution date. So you may recall on Wednesday, visiting Judge Austin Reeve Jackson set a new execution date for Roberson's on October 16th at 6 p.m. Reeve Jackson said while he understood an appeal for a new trial was outstanding, he said that there was really no legal basis why he should not honor the state's request to set a new execution date. Now that a date is in place, Roberson's attorney says that move automatically triggers next steps that she believes could create issues. Take a listen.
Access is very, very limited for lawyers when their clients are on death row as it is. You have to schedule phone calls. For instance, I tried to get a phone call so that I could talk to my client after today. The soonest date they could give me was July 30th. Well, by then I'll already be there to see him, which is also something you have to arrange. So it doesn't get easier. It certainly gets harder, and then all of the other things that he has to worry about, like preparing for this potentiality. As I mentioned in the courtroom, he is now part of this pilot program where he spends much of his day out of solitary confinement with other inmates, unshackled. And even before he was chosen as one of the first 12 to be part of this program, they allowed him to be unshackled in the chapel, praying with lawmakers.
So that was attorney Gretchen Sween, and she says that all changes now. Roberson will have to go back to spending nearly all of his time in solitary confinement, chained up. Now, all of that, of course, is a little consequence to family members who do believe that Roberson is guilty of killing his 2-year-old daughter, Nikki Curtis, and are counting the days until he's executed. Clarice.
Alex, what sort of legal challenges or options does Roberson's team intend to pursue in the coming days?
Yeah, it's a good question. So the big question right now is, will the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals grant the defense's motion for a new trial? If so, obviously, Roberson's execution date will be void. In the short term, though, the defense can move for what's called a stay on Judge Reeve Jackson's ruling, meaning his order won't be enforced since the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals is already considering the case. But Clarice, as of right now, that hasn't happened.
All right, you're going to keep us posted.
I will.
Alex, thank you.
Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice agrees to a plea bargain today that puts him on 5 years probation and requires him to make restitution to the victims from his street racing or highway racing crash on Central Expressway last spring. Hi and good evening. I'm Steve Eager.
And I'm Heather Hayes. But Judge Ernest White, who expressed concern that Rice walked away from the crash without even trying to see to the people who were hurt or even wait for police, added jail time to the conditions of probation. Fox 4's Sean Rabb joins us now live with more. Sean.
Good evening to you, Heather. So the original plea deal had no jail time in it, restitution and 5 years probation. The judge did not like it. He felt that Rashee Rice needed some jail time as a consequence for his actions last spring. So the judge met with both sides in chambers, then announced he was adding to the conditions of probation 30 days in jail, and he had some words for Mr. Rice.
I have no doubt that hindsight being what it is, you're remorseful about what occurred that brought you here today.
What brought Rashee Rice to Judge Ernest White's courtroom was this: a chain reaction accident caused by Rice in March of 2024 when racing his Lamborghini at speeds of more than 119 miles an hour along Central Expressway went out of control.
What you did out there was just beyond ridiculous, just beyond stupid.
Many people were injured. The North Texan and former SMU student athlete, now Kansas City Chief, has made restitution of more than $115,000 to the victims. Rice would plead guilty to felony racing on a highway and felony collision causing serious bodily injury.
We understand what happened. Mr. Rice is apologetic for what's happening. We want to make certain that the people that were involved in this accident are amply taken care of, and that's exactly what we're going to continue to do.
The state and defense had agreed on a plea bargain of full restitution for all victims and 5 years probation. After the accident, Rice and others with him in both cars that caused the accident walked away before police arrived. That bothered Judge Ernest White, who added jail time to the plea bargain agreement.
As a condition of probation, I'm ordering you to serve 30 days in the county jail as a condition of probation. I'm not ordering you into custody today.
In a statement, District Attorney John Creuzot says, in part, we are extremely fortunate that no lives were lost that day, and Mr. Rice is fortunate to have walked away unharmed. We hope he takes this as an opportunity to mature and leads by example moving forward. I wish him the best in making safer choices. I asked through Rice's attorney, Royce West, if Rice wanted to say anything publicly.
Rashee, did you want to say anything at all? No.
But through the DA's office, Rice released a statement, and some of it reads, "There have been a lot of sleepless nights thinking about the damages my actions caused, and I will continue working within my means to make sure everyone impacted will be made whole. I urge everyone to mind the speed limit, drive safe, and drive smart. I am profoundly sorry," adding, "I fully apologize for the harm I caused to innocent drivers and their families." Rice faced 6 other potential cases, but as part of the plea deal, the state will not go forward on those.
No doubt the attorney did an amazing job on your behalf. That doesn't happen every day. Good luck to you, sir.
Now, the 30 days jail time is to be served over the length and breadth of the probation over the next 5 years. So not all at once, but here and there over the next 5 years. He will have to report to a probation officer. That probation officer will be.
This week's Trackdown is a double mystery. Who was driving a now damaged white Chevrolet Equinox after hitting a man walking along Interstate 20 in Duncanville in June? And Dallas County Sheriff's deputies cannot locate that victim's family. Fox 4 Sean Rabb and Trackdown travel to Duncanville.
We are in Duncanville along Interstate 20 westbound between Duncanville Road and Cedar Ridge. This is Doug Siss is Public Information Officer, Sheriff's Department. What happened here June 21st?
We had a pedestrian that was walking along the highway, and we don't know if he was trying to cross the highway or if he was on the shoulder, but as he was walking, a white Equinox struck this gentleman and continued on down the road.
Tell me about your victim.
Our victim is, his name is Rafael Rivera Hernandez. He's 62 years old. As of this point in time, we have not been able to make contact with the family members.
So no one has come forward looking for someone?
No. So that's one of the reasons we're great that y'all are doing this, is because if anybody knows this gentleman, knows family members, please have them reach out to our detective that's in charge of the case.
You have video of your suspect vehicle?
We had a witness that was behind the vehicle that has some video of the vehicle. It's not real clear, but it shows the description and everything from what the witnesses gave us is a white Equinox, and we've got a license plate number, Lincoln George Paul 5505. And so, like I said, that's the vehicle that the detectives are looking for, is a white Equinox with that license plate.
Okay, so you need 2 things.
Yes, sir.
You need to know who was driving that white Equinox.
Yes, sir.
And you need to know family members of Mr. Rafael Rivera Hernandez.
Yes, sir.
How can folks reach out to the Dallas County Sheriff's Department?
They can reach out to either, the email is vcu@dallascounty.org or Detective Espino at 214-589-2323.
All right, it's June 21st in the early morning hours. It's a white Equinox. We're putting the license plate up for you again. Know the vehicle, get at the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. Not only that, but who knows this man? Rafael Rivera Hernandez. Who knows him? Get at the Dallas County Sheriff's Department. Help them find the family members of the man killed here on Interstate 20.
And we have an update for you on another story. June 18th, Trackdown drew your attention to the violent assault of a woman by two other women. It happened in the parking lot of Mr. Bellagio's after-hours nightclub. Viewer tips to detectives led to Kaylee Morales and Serenity Oliveras both being arrested and facing assault charges. 206 people have been arrested or identified by you, the viewer, through Fox 4's Sean Rabb's Trackdown. You can watch past Trackdown stories and maybe help solve a crime. Go to the Fox 4 YouTube page, youtube.com/Fox4 News.
A former Marine reservist is under arrest and in jail in Johnson County, accused of taking part in an ambush at an Alvarado ICE detention facility.
And now 15 people face charges in connection to the attack. Fox 4's Dion Anglin joins us live with the latest. Dion.
Hi there, Steve. Heather, that's right. The suspects total is now at 15 in the alleged terrorist ambush at an ICE detention facility on July 4th.
I think coordination is the correct way to phrase that. I can't go into detail exactly what we know about how they coordinated, but this is correct. This is not random.
The FBI apprehension of alleged shooter Benjamin Song and another brings to 15 the total number of arrested suspects in the July 4th attack at the Alvarado ICE Detention Center. The arrest of Song at a Dallas apartment Tuesday evening is considered a key development in the case. An FBI SWAT team took Song into custody without incident. The initial U.S. Attorney complaint describes the aftermath of a nearby wooded area following gunfire at Prairieland Detention Center that left a responding Alvarado police officer shot in the neck. That officer is recovering. The document notes the discovery of two AR-15 style rifles were found abandoned in the woods across from the Prairieland Detention Center in the vicinity of spent 5.56 casings, along with two body armor plate carriers with loaded AR-15 magazines. Records show that both of these rifles were purchased by Song. Officials believe Song hid in the woods until dark the next day before fleeing. Federal officials point out Song has a military background.
And within 11 days, Mr. Song was tracked down.
It is not Song's first run-in with the law. In 2020, he was arrested on 2 counts of assaulting a public servant during protests in Austin. He was also named in a lawsuit over a clash between protesters and counter-protesters outside a 2023 drag brunch in Fort Worth. Now Song is being held in Johnson County on a $15 million bond. All total, 15 suspects charged in what officials say is the 4th act of violence against federal officers in the Northern District of Texas this year.
I think there are more people involved. We will track down everybody that's involved, whether they were there present at the time of the ambush or other individuals who may have aided and abetted those individuals who came armed to a detention facility with the intent of harming law enforcement.
Now, the Johnson County District Attorney says that Song is believed to be one of 2 shooters on that day. A secondary shooter is among the group already arrested. The investigators, though, have not yet identified that person by name. And the DA also says there could be more arrests as this investigation continues. That's the very latest live. Steve, Heather, back to you.
Okay, Dion, thank you.
Fox 4. The man at the center of the blue alert, a top 10 most wanted fugitive in the state, has been arrested in Dallas. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. There was a $35,000 reward in place for the capture of Benjamin Song. The FBI arrested him at a Dallas apartment complex this afternoon. Song is now the 14th person arrested for an ambush outside an ICE detention center. An Alvarado police officer was shot and injured. Fox 4's Amelia Jones has more from the investigation. Amelia.
Heather, Steve, we're working to learn more about the specifics on Benjamin Song's capture. This morning, the acting U.S. attorney for the Northern District of Texas said that Song is believed to be one of the shooters in the July 4th ambush attack. 2 people were arrested earlier this week for allegedly helping Song evade arrest. The week-long manhunt for Benjamin Song ended Tuesday. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Texas shared he was arrested by FBI agents at an apartment complex in Dallas. Song is the 14th person arrested in connection with the ambush on officers at the Prairieland Detention Center in Alvarado in Johnson County. Court documents say on July 4th, the group dressed in military-style black clothing shot off fireworks, sprayed graffiti, and shot at correctional officers when they came outside. A responding Alvarado police officer was shot in the neck and survived. Song, a Marine reservist, is believed to be one of the shooters.
Because our information is that he is a Marine, he had training. He also is believed to be one of the shooters at the scene of the crime. He certainly knew how to use firearms.
Monday, federal officials announced the arrests of John Thomas and Lynette Sharp. The two are charged with accessory after the fact for their roles in helping Song evade arrest. According to the criminal complaint, Thomas told officers Song was his roommate and that they lived in the Oak Cliff neighborhood of Dallas. Song allegedly hid overnight near the detention center after the attack. Thomas allegedly admitted to police that he picked Song up in Alvarado on July 5th and took him to a home in North Dallas where he was house sitting. According to investigators, chat room conversations also showed Thomas and Sharp had a hand in orchestrating the attack.
They were involved in signal chats, which show reconnaissance, planning, a Google map, the location of nearby police departments.
Song faces 3 counts of attempted murder of federal agents and 3 counts of discharging a firearm in relation to a crime of violence. If convicted, he faces anywhere between 10 years to life in prison. The criminal complaint also says Song allegedly purchased 4 of the guns used in the ambush attack. He's currently being held at the Johnson County Jail. Heather, Steve, back to you.
All right, Amelia Jones, thank you.
Another big news story here in Texas last week were the shootings targeting ICE and Border Patrol officers in Alvarado and McAllen. Some of the brave sheriff's deputies played a key part in stopping that incident in Alvarado. What has caused the recent spike in violence against law enforcement in this country, and how do we ensure that the sheriffs, police officers, and federal agents trying to keep our country safe from criminals are not assaulted by rogue citizens?
Well, you know, I said, first of all, I went to Alvarado yesterday and met the sheriff and the local law enforcement that responded to that, and met the officer that was shot, and, you know, God bless each and every one of them. When they were called, they responded, and that was just terrific. We're still looking for one, and we will find him. The others are facing serious charges and consequences, and that's exactly what should happen. Look, I said 2 months ago, and I was attacked by the left for making a statement. I said if the rhetoric continues against ICE officers and the Border Patrol, there will be bloodshed. And of course, left said, you know, call me a fearmonger. How dare he say such a thing? But I've seen this game before. I've been around a long time, especially rhetoric from members of Congress. I mean, you got senators and congressmen comparing ICE to Nazis, racists, Gestapo. It's just never ending. And when an average citizen hears that kind of language from a member of Congress, they feel, you know, the nuts on the left. And, you know, I don't mind protesters at all. They have their constitutional right to protest. Have at it. But you got that population, that percentage, who's going to take it one step further and do criminal acts. For those people that are unhinged, they feel emboldened when a member of Congress can attack ICE and comparing them to, you know, Hitler and what happened, you know, back then. And it's just terrible. And it's an insult to the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol, just like you all in this audience, who strap a gun to their hip every day to enforce the law that Congress enacted. And that's what I'm trying to get out. The message is for members of Congress to attack ICE for enforcing the immigration law and calling them racist for enforcing the law. Well, what does that make them? They wrote the law, but they're walking away from it. Look, you know, I'm proud of a bunch of things right now. I'm proud today, while we sit here, we have the most secure border in the history of this nation because of the actions of President Trump. I was looking at total arrests this morning, DHS-wide. We're just shy of 300,000 arrests. So, you know, we're arresting about 3 times more than Joe Biden did, and we got the most secure border in a lifetime. How many people are being released from the border? 0 are being released from the border. You know, I looked at the stats, we're 1,800 a day on average under Biden, 1,800 a day that we knew crossed the border and got away. Call them gotaways, known gotaways, because we call them on drone traffic, sensor traffic, you know, various means. 1,800 a day average. Some days many more. Yesterday, 9. Went from 1,800 to 9. 9 too many. We'll plug that hole. And but ICE and Border Patrol are more successful now than they've ever been. And we're going to keep doing the job. We're not turning our back. I talked to Governor Abbott just before he came out here, and he pledged Texas law enforcement will help support ICE when they're driving away from the operation and people are pelting stones at the vehicles. You know, President, I was sitting in my house the other night. I finally got a day off. I'm sitting in my house the other day, and I was watching Laura Ingraham. And President, I looked at my phone rings, it was POTUS. President Trump, he called me and said, I'm sick and tired of the attacks on ICE officers. I'm sick and tired of the damage being done to, you know, the government property. We got to stop it. And I agree. Yeah, absolutely. So that's when he sent the tweet out that, you know, 0 tolerance. You impede a federal ICE officer, you're going to jail. You put a hands on an officer, you're going to jail. You knowingly harbor, conceal an illegal alien, you're going to jail. You throw a rock at an ICE officer, you're going to jail. You damage a government vehicle, you're going to jail. This shit stops now. And President Trump's going to make a point that happens. So the short answer to your question, how are we going to attack it? We're going to attack it by consequences. Consequences work. Bad behavior won't change unless there's consequences. We're proving that. Look, the most secure border because we have you know, DOD down there. We have because we got almost 0 crossings. Every border patrol agent's on the border. So having boots on the ground matters. Governor Abbott proved that when he had the most secure border during the Biden administration because of actions he took, not the federal government. But consequences matter. I really think what you're seeing with over 1,000 enforcement teams across this nation out there every day looking for those illegal aliens who are public safety threats and national security threats, I think they're showing the whole world there are consequences. If you happen to get by the Border Patrol, or if you're one of the millions of Biden released into the United States illegally, you're not off the table. We're coming for you. And because of these teams, these operations, I think consequences are just as equal as boots on the ground, and that's why the population that's coming across the border right now are historic lows, never seen before. Number of people coming across the border the other day was 82. 82 compared to 15,000 under Joe Biden. Amazing progress by the men and women of the border, so hats off to them.
Hey, good morning, guys. Former Dallas Police Chief Eddie Garcia retired in October of last year to become an assistant city manager in Austin. He served DPD for more than 3 years. Now, city leaders, they do say that he did a lot of work in the city, but when Garcia left, he told Fox 4 he wanted a better work-life balance. City leaders credit his leadership with reducing crime and improving morale in the department. Fort Worth has been searching for a new leader since Chief Neil Noakes retired in May. At a community vigil last night, Fort Worth Mayor Maddie Parker thanked city management for the work and search for top candidates.
I'm tremendously proud of the city management team. It's led an excellent search process. We had a tremendous number of candidates, which bodes well for our city. The best police department in the country, in my opinion, of course.
The city launched a nationwide search after Noakes' departure, and interim Fort Worth Police Chief Robert Aldridge is also expected to be named as one of the finalists. Now, the names of all finalists expected to be released to the public sometime later this morning. For Good Day, I'm Ticia Muzinga.
2 men are accused of breaking into multiple businesses with a sledgehammer.
The men, both in their 40s, are accused of breaking into 10 businesses in Grapevine and Arlington. Police say the first burglary happened in May, and police say it all ended with them caught hiding in a convenience store ceiling. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager has more from the police investigation. Peyton?
Stephen, Heather, Arlington police here comparing notes with Grapevine police in this investigation. They tell me these two suspects followed a similar pattern. They hit these convenience stores in the early morning hours, grabbing cash and cigarettes, and also using a sledgehammer to break through the front door. Detectives from 2 North Texas police departments connected 40-year-old Anthony Johnson and 41-year-old Perry Busby to at least 10 convenience store burglaries in 6 weeks. 8 in Arlington, 2 in Grapevine. Investigators coined the duo as the Sledgehammer Burglars. Each time using a sledgehammer to get in. This surveillance video from a June 11th burglary at Grapevine's Max Corner store off Texan Trail. The masked suspects use the sledgehammer to get behind the counter. Within a few minutes, the two take off with $3 grand worth of cigarettes and the entire cash register. Inside, hundreds of dollars in cash. Just 2 weeks prior, Grapevine officers responded to this gas station off Grapevine Mills Parkway. The report identical, masked men with a sledgehammer. A Grapevine detective noticed the 2 men caught on this surveillance matched 2 burglary suspect descriptions from Arlington PD. Arlington flock cameras captured a white Ford Taurus as the suspect vehicle, registered to Busby in Johnson County. An arrest warrant affidavit Fox 4 obtained on Monday says investigators also used this photo off Busby's Facebook to connect him to the white Taurus. Last week, Grapevine police traveled to Johnson County and installed a GPS tracker on Busby's Taurus. July 9th, detectives tracked the Taurus to Arlington's Lucky One Food Mart off West Park Row. Officers watched 2 men use a sledgehammer to break in before officers moved in. Investigators say Busby and Johnson ran to the bathroom, climbed on the sink, and hid in the ceiling. The 2 were eventually arrested. Video from inside the business on Monday shows a new bathroom sink installed. Next to it, the broken sink and broken ceiling tiles. Police say the 2 suspects damaged in their effort to get away. Investigators also tell us they used social media photos from Busby's Facebook to match articles of clothing to the men who were on the surveillance video. All right, Busby also has multiple prior arrests for burglary. Detectives looked up those reports. The MO was the same, breaking in and stealing cigarettes and cash with a large trash bag. Steve and Heather, back to you.
All right, Peyton Yeager live tonight. Thank you. Dallas police released body cam video of officers shooting and killing a man they say refused to drop the knives he was holding.
Fox 4's Alex Boyer is at Dallas Police Headquarters right now with more on what the police revealed today about the shooting. Alex.
Hey guys, and the police chief says that this is the 4th shooting so far this year involving a Dallas police officer. Now, the suspect was identified today as 37-year-old Jake Miller, and investigators believe that Miller was experiencing some sort of mental episode when he ultimately lunged at officers with 2 knives in his hands. Now, those officers did try using less lethal force in order to stop them, but that ultimately didn't work, leading to his death.
There is a man walking this like across the street, and he's walking back and forth with a knife in his hand.
A 911 call from a Dallas resident helps to establish who and what Dallas police officers were about to encounter in a neighborhood off Fairview Avenue back on the morning of July 9th.
It looks like he's cutting himself on his arm.
Okay. All right. We have a call for police and ambulance to go out.
That man, later identified as 37-year-old Jake Miller, was reportedly armed with 2 knives. Body camera video released at a news conference Monday captured part of the deadly encounter. Miller was reportedly kicking on the door of a residence and putting the knife to his neck, even cutting his own arms. When 4 Dallas police officers arrived on scene, they gave Miller several loud verbal commands to drop the knives. He did not. In the video, you can hear officers using less lethal force, including pepper balls.
Drop the knife! Drop the knife!
And a taser to get Miller to comply. It didn't work. Investigators said shortly after, Miller lunged towards Officer Anthony Pargas, who shot Miller 4 times.
Drop the knife!
Once on the ground, officers were able to kick the knives away from Miller. They performed CPR, but Miller died. Chief Daniel Como defended Officer Pargas's actions.
Look, the officers did a phenomenal job out there. They tried to keep everyone safe. They even tried to keep Mr. Miller safe. And Mr. Miller left them no choice. Obviously, you can see from the video, he was going to harm our officers. And officers did everything they needed to do at that time, and they acted accordingly. The job is definitely dangerous. We want every single officer to go home every night.
And investigators say that Miller did live in that neighborhood with a roommate who is the one who ultimately first called 911 to report his erratic behavior. DPD says they have not had any prior run-ins with Miller. And we can also tell you that the Dallas County District Attorney's Office is, of course, doing its own independent, separate investigation into this case. Officer Pargas has only been with the Dallas Police Department since January of this year. Back to you.
All right, Alex Boyer, thank you.